Hey ladies, welcome to the Meal Planning Made Simple webinar. This is going to be fun tonight, I promise. And at the end, we'll do some Q&A as well. So it's funny to think about meal planning because I feel like meal planning should be simple, right? You just write down meals and dinners that you want for your week. But I feel like this is such a topic that so many of us struggle with getting consistent habits. It's not the meal planning itself, and we'll go into step by step how to plan your meals for the week, but it's truly more of making this habit just part of your life because it is so important to meal plan for these healthy meals. So, there goes my phone. Okay. So why should we meal plan anyway, right? I know so many of you have and still do like to just kind of wing it, grab and go, whatever sounds good for that day. But it is so important to set up your week ahead of you to eat healthy. And the best way to do that is by meal planning, because this avoids the decision fatigue that we run into through the week when we don't know what is for dinner. And then that's when we tend to make our bad choices, or maybe that not the healthiest choices if we don't have a planned, especially dinners, but all our meals. Okay. But also when we actually sit down to plan our meals, it saves us a bunch of money. So instead of just going to the grocery store and aimlessly, or maybe even with a plan, being able to grocery shop, but if we know ahead of time actually truly what we need, we end up saving money. We can look in our pantry and in our kitchen to see the supplies we already have, so we're not buying extra that we end up having to throw away, and we can actually use what we have and then just go to the store with a simple list of truly what we need. And then it actually does save time through the busy weeks. So I know everybody is at different seasons in their lives, but when you are in a season of your life that's super busy through the week, I know it takes that extra couple of hours to sit down on a Saturday or a Sunday and meal plan and grocery shop and do some food prepping. But that couple of hours time saves so much more time during the week than if you try to go to the grocery store multiple times during the week, or if you have nothing prepped, then it's just taking longer through the week. So that's why I want you all, and I encourage you all to continue to meal plan. There we go. So the biggest thing, of course, even with meal planning, I know we've talked a lot about mindset through the weight loss journey and through the health coaching program. But again, mindset comes up again through meal planning too. So even though we think of meal planning maybe as simple, but we all get caught up on all the mind drama that goes along with it. So I like to talk about upgrading our mindset. So what that means is just kind of like we all have electronics like phones and laptops and iPads, and we always need to be upgrading that, right, to keep up with the new upgrades that are going on to improve the quality and the speed of our electronics. Same thing with our mindsets. So if we are in the same mindset about weight loss that we were the 10 other times when we try to lose weight, it will not be effective. We have to change our mindset around meal planning in order for this to be an effective and routine habit that we're creating and building. Okay. So mind drama always comes up and gets in the way when we tell ourselves we need to sit down to meal plan. We think of 10 other things that we would rather be doing or reasons why we can't meal plan. to please our families or busy schedules, right? There's so many different excuses and thoughts that start to come up around meal planning, but we need to recognize our thoughts and know why this mind drama is coming up for us and start to just cut it out. Okay. When we're building and creating new healthy habits, that's when we don't want to let our thoughts get in the way. That's when we need to stop our thoughts and start replacing them with healthy thoughts. Meal planning is important. It's good for us, and it will set my week up for success. So those are some of the thoughts that I want you to start having around meal planning. So this is a funny slide. At first, like this lady in the shower singing, because I'm sure you all do that, especially just sitting there in the tub with your robe on and brushing our teeth. So and I know you all brush our teeth, right? We brush our teeth every morning, every night, right? Hopefully you do. Showering, we all shower every day or every other day. Okay. Same thing with our hair, whether it's throwing it up in a ponytail, whether it's, spending longer on it. But these are just normal habits that we do every day. And it doesn't matter if, we would just continue to do these habits, even if we were tired, right? Like if we just had a super long day and we didn't want to brush our teeth and wash our face at night, we still do that. And if we don't, like say we are just really tired that night and we don't do that, we don't brush our teeth the night before, then the next day we just get up and brush our teeth. Like we don't even think about it because it's such a habit that we have created. Okay. So sorry, I'm going to move me over here out of the way. But so even if we're stressed or we have busy schedules, summer's always like thrown up in the air. Then school gets started. Again, schedules get busy. Work schedules get busy, spouses' schedules get busy, right? There's so much going on. But why are these habits, like brushing our teeth, showering most days, taking care of our hygiene, why are those habits in place, regardless what's going on in our life around us? But the habits, the healthy habits, like meal planning, exercise, okay, the food prep and the meal planning, why are they not part of our daily habits? Okay. So why are these habits optional? So why is meal planning optional? Okay. I want it to be just like brushing your teeth or combing your hair. It's just a non-optional habit. That's just what you do every week. Right? So it comes down again to just creating that habit and understanding how our thoughts are getting in the way of not making the meal planning happening, and how to train our brain to create those new habits. Okay, let's keep going. So, sorry, bear with me. This is the first Zoom webinar here. So I'm working out some of these tech details here. Okay, so the first thing is when you sit down to start thinking about what you want your meal plan to look like for the week, I would recommend for the week or for the full month, even if you're really gung-ho. If that seems too overwhelming, at least meal plan for like the next 3 days. Sometimes it's just easier to go grocery shopping once a week for the most part, to get the foods that will save you time. So the first thing is you want to talk to your family. You all probably have a good idea of what your family likes and what they don't like, but maybe once a month, just ask them, hey, any new suggestions for dinner? I would not worry about so much like the breakfast and lunches. Those seem to go together usually easier, but definitely those dinners, see if anyone else has any good suggestions. So start there, start with your family first. Okay. There we go. And then getting organized. So I know a lot of us will have recipes everywhere, right? Like I have cookbooks and then I have recipes saved all over, like my Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. I also have like just some other websites that I saved into my phone that are some of my favorite recipes. So we have all these recipes everywhere. So the first step is trying to get all of these recipes organized so you can look like in one spot for your top recipes that you know that you want to cook. Okay. And the ones especially that will be staples that the recipes that you're using in your meal plan can be the same ones like every month, just kind of this rotating schedule of just routine meals. You don't have to try all these fancy new recipes all the time, but have some recipes that you're wanting to try, but have them organized. So when you have your cookbooks at home that are your go-to cookbooks, what I would recommend is get into your cookbook and go through it. Write down the recipes that you know you want to use out of that cookbook and the page, and just put it on like a long sticky note or a notebook paper and put that in your recipe book. That way, when it is time to kind of quickly prepare a meal plan, that way you can just open that book, see what those top 30 recipes are that you want to use from that cookbook, and pick a few out of that cookbook. So go through your cookbooks, write down a list of your favorites in each cookbook, and then make sure on your social media accounts and your Pinterest, make sure you have like a separate list that you save your recipes to. Just label it recipes. You can get even more specific with like healthy recipes or favorite family recipes. So you can go through that and narrow down all the recipes you're saving and then organize them that way as well. So that way, again, when you're looking for a quick family recipe, you can click on that. Or if you're looking for maybe a more healthy adult recipe, you can click on that. So get your recipes organized. Okay. And then, yeah, so what I would suggest too, so every week with dinners, you should always try to plan at least 3 dinners a week, unless you're unless you're going to be out of town or missing a lot of dinners for meetings and things. But pick out 3 dinners a week. And sometimes if we backtrack that even more, if you have some extra time, look through all your recipes and pick out your top 10 or 20 that you know you want to cook over the next few months. Write them down, have that list. That way, when your week comes to just picking 3 recipes, you have a list already made. Just pick 3 from your list. Doesn't have to take a lot of thought that way. Okay. Yeah, so make meal planning exciting. Dance around the kitchen, just like this lady's doing in the background. I thought that was funny. But one good suggestion is to every week try to have a theme night for every night of the week. I feel like this works well with families, especially with kids, because then they know what to expect. They know, I gave some examples here. I like meatless Mondays, but I know not all families go for that. So you can name it a different name, but like Taco Tuesdays is a popular one. I like Brenner Wednesdays, like breakfast and dinner. So most people like breakfast food. So that's always nice to incorporate that for a meal, for a dinner meal. Soup and salad Thursdays. That way, like in the winter times, you can use a lot of soups. In the summers, you can incorporate more salads. It doesn't have to be both. It can be. And then Fridays, make it fun. Pasta. There's so many good healthy pastas that I shared as far as the noodles, and then pizzas for the kids, or you can make your own pizzas in a healthier fashion as well, with like cauliflower crust or corn tortillas for the crust, charcuterie boards. I love these. They're so easy and so family friendly for everybody's taste, just to kind of pick and choose what what you want off that board. And it's easy, especially like on the weekends. I feel like you can leave one of these boards out for a few hours if kids just are snacking through the day without having to sit down and make a big meal. And then batch cooking Sunday. I love being able to spend a couple hours early on a Sunday morning and prep and all my veggies, get those cut up, my fruits caught up. And then we like to batch cook a bunch of meat, a lot of chicken, fish, whatever our meat is going to be. If we're going to use like ground turkey or ground beef in recipes, we will. And we'll try to cook up as much as of the protein and meat we can on a Sunday. That way we can incorporate that through the meals through the week without taking a lot of time cooking that up through the week. So let's see. Come on. Okay. Yeah, so another way to get organized is to have a whiteboard up in the kitchen. This whiteboard should have the purpose for two things. It should have your meal plan down for the week. That way everybody knows what's for dinner, right? That way you don't get 10 questions from all your family members. What's for dinner tonight? What's for dinner tomorrow? Everybody always wants to know what dinner is. Well, they can just go look at the board. Okay. Also, I feel like kids really too always want to know what's for dinner tomorrow. And if it's already on the board, it's like you're putting that off your chest and okay, that's just what's for dinner. It's on the board. That's what we're doing. And hopefully they won't keep asking you and blaming you for that dinner choice that night. But also I find it helpful too. So if my husband gets home before I do that evening, he could see what is for dinner that night and already start getting things prepared. Same thing with older kids. They can start getting out some of the veggies and the meats and start piecing together the meals too. So have it all out there. Also, write down like an active grocery list. So that way the kids or spouses, if they realize something's out, in the pantry, or they want you to get this special food for them, they could write it on the whiteboard as well. Hopefully you guys all have a whiteboard of some sort, especially with families too. Yeah, so to start off small, I definitely would encourage you planning at least 2 to 3 meals a week. And then I always love to cook a little bit more food from a food portion size to then use for my lunches for the week. That way it's just less cooking. You're already cooking, you're already dirtying up all these dishes, taking the time to do it. Usually I try to double the recipes and just make a little bit more. So I do have leftovers for a couple of days, or I can use them into my lunches. A nice flashy eggs there. So, and then, yeah, look at your schedule for the week. What do you have going on every night after work or do you have time during the day and want to do some prepping? What's your schedule look like day to day? Or do you have an extra hour in the morning that you can just prep dinner? That way it's ready to just be cooked when you get home and it's already cut up and chopped. So looking at your week is so important, but you also want to make sure you're scheduling it in. Schedule meal prep, grocery shopping, meal planning, schedule it in like you would any other schedulable item on your to-do list. Because if it doesn't get scheduled, then oftentimes it just doesn't get done. So make sure you look at the week, what you've got going on for the week. I always like to try to cook on a Sunday as much as we can, have leftovers that'll get us through the first couple of days of the week, and then shoot to cook again like on a Wednesday or Thursday, depending what schedules allow there. So trying to just minimize the time you have to spend during the week cooking is also so important. Yeah. So, and definitely the more planning you do, it actually saves you time. Okay. So everybody will have different busier seasons in their life, whether it's with kids, whether it's with work, whether it's with caring for aging parents or relatives, whether it's just doing more fun things and traveling more, right? So we all have these busier seasons in our life, but accounting for that busyness, the busier we are, the more important it is to have a meal plan, because it seems like when we're busy during the week, we're so, our minds are so full of everything else that we need to take care of, that it's hard to think on the fly with food like that. So the busier your schedule is, the more important it is to get after that meal plan. Yeah, so part of this next little part of meal planning is taking inventory on what you have in your cabinet. So before you, after you pick a few meals for your week, make sure you're taking an inventory in your pantry, in your refrigerator, in your freezer to know what you already have. That way, when you go to the store, you're not buying extra and having to throw out extra food. But always try to get those healthy staples, like the different almond flours and wheat flours and seeds, chia seeds, different EVUs, like the vegetable oils. And you don't have to get all this stuff all at once, but if you can slowly stack up your pantry with some of these healthier options to use in your cooking, that will help too over time. Yeah, so automate breakfast, lunch. I definitely would keep those two meals simple, easy. Like every morning you should have, and if you're doing some intermittent fasting, then you really don't have to worry about breakfast. But just automating that with family as well. So the rest of the family and you just kind of have those like 3 or 4 breakfast items that you kind of rotate through. And I gave you some examples, but eggs are my favorite. I always have eggs on hand, fruits, kids like the bagels and the cream cheese, and but have that on hand. That way it's easier to grab and go, at least for the family. And breakfast, you can get creative and do like breakfast cups, overnight oats, and just have that ready for your week too. Lunch, definitely ingredient share. So those dinners, as you're cooking a larger amount, try to use that extra food into your lunch and your next dinner. So you're sharing those ingredients that are already prepped and cooked. Containers, big one. Okay. Always have enough containers. I feel like this is something in our house that we use so much, and I feel like we have to replace them. They seem to last a few years or maybe a little bit longer, but having enough containers to store all your leftovers and your prepped foods is important. Okay, we're getting towards the end here. So, and as you're planning for your week, not only your breakfast, lunch, dinner, but also plan for those snacks and plan for those sweet tooth. If you know you have a sweet tooth, well, plan for it. Have something on hand that is a healthier option, because if it's there readily available, that's what you'll end up grabbing. So yeah, as you're making your grocery list, it's so important to, one, take inventory of what you've already got so you're not rebuying the same foods. Okay. Have that running list on your whiteboard for family and spouses to be able to add and erase what they need through the week as well. Another thing too, I find so helpful is having an app on my phone, right? There's apps for everything, but having an app that's a shareable app with anyone else in the family who's doing any grocery shopping, whether it's a parent, whether it's a child, whether it's a spouse, if they're also doing some grocery shopping, share an app. That way it's updated right in there and they don't have to rely on, oh shoot, I forgot the list at home. Put it on an app. I gave you some apps that are out there. I've used the Cozy app, that Tap app, for years, and I'm interested to see if any of you ladies have used other apps that have been helpful too. But that will save you a lot of time just adding that on the fly as you think of it when you're away from home, or as you think of it at home. You can just throw what you need on those apps. Okay, last slide, ladies. We made it through. So this is just an overview. So make meal planning as simple as it sounds, okay? It's all about ditching the drama behind meal planning, but also incorporating as a new habit, okay? This needs to be a habit as simple as brushing our teeth, as simple as taking a shower. This just needs to be a weekly habit that we do without thinking about it, regardless if we're too busy or too stressed or too tired. Like that just has to be done as part of, it shouldn't be optional, right? Like I want it to just be part of your weekly habits. But there's the overview. Get your family involved, make a theme for each week if you feel like that would be helpful. Organize those recipes, pick out 10 to 20 for the next couple of months. That way, weekly, it's just easier to pick a few as you go. Get that app, that'll help, to that shareable app for grocery lists. And then schedule that time. If it's scheduled, if it's blocked, you'll do it. Okay, ladies. So yeah, eating healthy is part of your life now. It's a habit, it's a way of living. And this is the best way to make this continue in your life. Okay, time for some Q&A. So